This is Suspenders Unbuttoned, a podcast where friends talk with friends about TV, movies, and books. Hi, welcome back everyone to Suspenders Unbuttoned podcast. Today we have Jaralin Detienne from Wardrobe Girls, the costumer for Wedding Veil.
Hi, Jaralin. Welcome.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
Here. Yes, we have never seen a fan base so excited over the wardrobe in a movie before. So whatever you did was magic, and we love it.
Well, I'm excited to hear that because everyone on these on these three movies, so it is a trilogy, so you will see two more.
And you're involved in all three?
All three, yes.
Awesome.
Well, we can talk about the second one a little bit, but the cast, they are absolutely amazing, like all of them. So
yeah.
So it was really, really special to me. I had worked, and you sorry, maybe I'm already talking too much, but
no, just go. Yes.
It makes me excited because our three leading ladies, Lacey, Autumn, and Allie, I've worked with them all separately. So this was so special to be able to work with them all collectively together and to have them cameo in each other's movies. So, and they are what you hope they're going to be like in real life. They are like that in real life and more. So, yes.
I love that.
So there was a lot of pressure. We just finished number 3 on Saturday.
Okay.
And I said to them all as we're all crying and like saying goodbyes because, at the end of, who knows, maybe there'll be another one, but I don't know. But it was just so special because they're all so special. And I was like, I feel the pressure. I feel so much pressure to make you all like to dress you all equally as beautiful and to really showcase their characters and two, to honor the women that they are in real life.
Right.
So, yeah.
I love that. Did you have a direction? Like, did they come to you with a direction? How does that work? Like, did they say we want everybody styled like in this certain way, or do you kind of have a little more free reign where you might get a script or you learn about the character and then you come up with it on your own? Explain to us that whole process.
Yeah. So how it works is I get a script and I'm asked by either the network or the director or a producer. In this case, it was the network and a producer to come on board and be the costume designer for this trilogy. And so I get a script and I read the script, and then I usually sit in the bath while I'm reading it and I imagine kind of how everyone's going to look. And sometimes when I'm reading a script, I don't know who the cast are. So I create kind of a vision in my mind of how I think this character should look.
Mm-hmm.
So, in this case, I knew who our three leading ladies were, and so I know them all personally.
Right.
So I was like, okay, there was a couple things here that were really important. First thing was I wanted to really dive deep into the character. And then also I wanted to create 3 separate characters so that you weren't looking at, Hallmark and their brand, and I love their brand. I have done almost 40 movies for Hallmark, the Hallmark Network.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the beautiful aesthetic that they love. And I do that really well. But I wanted to give each one their own beauty. So that was really challenging because you also have to get the network on board, the producers, the directors, and obviously the cast to be like, okay, yeah, I love this vision. So I set what's called a mood board. I do a mood board.
Okay.
And I'm like, here's what I'm thinking. And I was like, how am I going to make each lady look different? What will work for them? I pitch it to them.
Okay.
And then they each were like, I love it, or can we change this? Or
Yep.
I saw this and this, but for the most part, because I know them, I knew what they would want.
Right.
And then I pitch it to the producer, the director, and the network.
Wow.
And everyone has to sign off.
Okay.
So
Okay. It's a lot of people
and
to
then
get signing off.
Yeah.
yeah, and then you start shopping.
Fun.
Wow.
Fun. Okay, so we see this beautiful color palette in this movie. We see it in the clothing, we see it on the screen, in the cinematography. So were you given a color palette to use too besides, or was that yours?
Okay. So there's a lot of designers that do what we call color blocking. So they have a character and they're like, these are the colors they're going to wear.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I don't do that.
Okay.
I go, what is going to look the best on them? And then what I do is I break it down by each scene. So I go, what is this person wearing in the scene? What is that person wearing in this scene? What is everybody wearing? How is it going to look together? What makes sense for the character and what she's doing or he's doing. And that's kind of how I do it. So I really go, what are the most beautiful clothes and beautiful outfits? And then I place them. So yeah, that's how I do that.
Okay, well,
Wow.
we really benefited from that because we
Yes.
can see that. Like that I think that is what made people be like, we just started seeing the previews and everybody's like, this is stunning, right?
Thank you.
Sarah said it has a very different look than we have seen.
I felt like I couldn't think of another movie to compare it to in terms of how everybody had their own style, but it was still really cohesive. Like they flowed together nicely. And I probably have no idea how to explain this the right way, so I hope it makes sense to you.
There's no wrong way.
And then of course you kind of had this color palette, like Julie, mentioned, like lots of the plums and purples and some reds and pinks, and I mean it just was beautiful. And I can't remember another movie at all where everybody just looked so beautiful in what they were wearing. And it just complemented the scenery and the scene so well. So bravo.
Thank you.
We loved it.
Thank you. And the thing is that like as we're dealing with locations, I try to be very aware as well. Like as locations are getting approved, I'm always watching to see what are the color palettes in that room. So there's all these things that you have to factor in. Like, what is the wall behind going to look like? If it's orange, and I have them in an orange shirt,
right?
It's just not going to be the best combo, right? But I mean, like orange and purple. Oh, that sounds amazing.
Right. Do you get that information before you're shopping, or do you go out shopping and then have to start modifying when you're learning these little details that are big details?
Yeah, so we're actually doing these pretty quickly. So I get about 3 weeks of prep, and it's not a lot. So you're really shopping, and then once you do the fitting, and then you get approvals back from the network of what they love, then I place the outfits, and then I go, what are the locations? Because oftentimes we're not locking in the end locations of places until like a week and a half, maybe a week before we start shooting. So it really doesn't give you a ton of time to really plan. And sometimes I'm not doing a fitting with my leads. So we have numbers, we call them 1 and 2. So number 1 is usually the lead, like the leading male or lady. And then number 2 is the lead, like
the other one.
The other one. So
the other one.
and then everybody has a number.
Yeah. So Lacey's your 1 in this one.
Yeah. So Lacey was 1 in this one. Kevin was 2. And Autumn and Allie were 3 and 4. So that's kind of how that works. But yeah, so we just don't have a lot of time. Sometimes they're not flying in until Friday or Saturday before we go to camera on Monday. So you're fitting them, reshopping anything you need to shop, you're altering things that need to be altered. And then I sit down with a program and I input where I'm going to see which costume and how I think that's going to work, and paying attention then as well to the rooms and everything else. So it's not a lot of time for
it amazes me every time we hear that like how
Short.
tight your timeline is. It's crazy to me. So you had the benefit of working with Lacey and Allie and Autumn before, but not Kevin. So was that a challenge
No.
when you get this super tall guy? I imagine it's a little bit more of a challenge. You didn't know, you've shopped for the others before, but not for him. So how was that process like?
Yeah. So in shopping any cast member that I've never shopped for, you always hope that when they tell you your sizes, that they tell you the truth. Because the thing is that I don't care what size anybody is, because every body type is beautiful. I go, how can I make it the most beautiful? How can I make them feel fabulous in their clothes? And even when I do styling, like private styling for people, that's what I say. I'm like, what is the purpose? What is your intention? And then, like, how can I make your clothes work for you? So I really try to think about that when I'm styling a character, right? Like it's, yeah, it might not be exactly what that person would wear in their real life, but I'm like, what is the intention of the character? What is the purpose? What does this character need to do? And how can I buy clothes that are going to work for that based on how, like, your body type? So Kevin is a dream. Like, he's lovely in all ways. And he's really tall. Yeah, he's really tall.
6'3".
He's got long arms, he's got long legs, he's got all the things that you're like, okay, now I really got to think. I got to think of what brands are going to work for him with his long arms. Is this scene something that he could roll up his sleeves if the sleeves aren't long enough? You're thinking through all these things. There are certain brands in Canada here where they are made for men that are taller, but then they're not that interesting. So
right.
And his clothes, his wardrobe was very interesting. All the patterns, the textures,
yeah. And I mean, he looks great in clothes. So some people don't, like, they just don't look as good in clothes. Like, it's a weird thing.
Yeah.
So you know that as a baseline, our foundation is really, we are a Kevin McGarry fan site, right? We came out of that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I put up at one point on our Insta stories, you understood the assignment, and people like couldn't fall over the pictures fast enough when they first started coming out of Crown Media of him being costumed. Like, we haven't seen that since that one Christmas movie. So he gets to play a rich guy. So you get to put him in nice stuff, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Right.
I feel like we don't often get the male lead in such interesting clothes, like, right, in a Hallmark film. Like, maybe because he was the rich guy, but I mean, everybody is saying his clothes were just as pretty as Lacey's.
Well, thank you. That's good. I mean, he wears them well, so he helped me. That's for sure. Yeah, he was a fun character because we did get to actually play, and I got to put him in some great blazers and dress shirts and fabulous jeans, and also because he just looks really good in clothes, it made my job that much easier. I mean, what guy doesn't look good in a suit?
Right.
This is the problem with the pandemic. You're like, no.
Go put a suit on here.
Yeah,
So
put a suit on.
When we watch these movies normally, the lead male often has like 3 outfits. We got the Henlier t-shirt outfit, the flannel shirt over the top outfit, and something nicer.
Sweater.
It might be a suit or might not. You like completely busted everything I've ever seen in costuming Kevin during this movie. The sheer number of different outfits was beyond anything we've ever seen in a Hallmark movie. Was it a lot different, or are we just making that up in our heads?
No, you're not. You're not making it up. I think there was a couple factors. The one, like you said, that his character was rich, right? So we need to play with that. We need to make him look rich. It has to be believable. The other thing is that when I when Lacey and I sat down to talk about her character and what her character was going to look like, I had like, we were like, all these fabulous dresses. She's like, she's just going to be in dresses. And I'm like, amazing. It was the season. We could buy dresses. I'm like, let's do all the dresses. So we have Lacey in dresses. I have to match Kevin.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
Right. I have to match him. So, and he has to look wealthy. So if she looks good, like really good, I need to make him look just as good or better because he's a guy that's supposed to have money. So, it was amazing because I'm like, okay, let's just play with blazers and dress shirts. And, you know, we threw in the odd like skinny sweater and he looked fabulous in that as well. And, you know, if anything, there's a few things that I always say to my clients that I style. It's like, buy expensive basics. They will last forever and they make you look like you're always put together. Good. Exactly. Right. Buy yourself a great pair of jeans. So whatever your budget is, go out and spend a ton of money and buy yourself a great pair of jeans. Buy yourself a really great blazer. Like a blazer, you put it on, you can add like a t-shirt or a tank top or whatever, whether you're a woman or a man. Have a great blazer, have a great pair of jeans, have a fabulous pair of boots or shoes. And then you can add fast fashion like tank tops or whatever that are cheap, and you're gonna look put together and you're gonna look great. So that's the thing. I spent the money on a great pairs of jeans and I spent the money on blazers. The dress shirts, I mean, they weren't that expensive, but they looked more expensive because you're throwing a fabulous blazer on top.
Yeah.
You also pick shirts with the patterns on it. Very end. I'm going to share my son is in his mid-20s. He's very fashion forward, and I was just dying every time Kevin walked on the screen. I'm like, oh my gosh, that Joshua has that jacket or something very similar. Same shirt, those jeans, the boots. He comes out with the slip-on boots. I'm like, he's got it all. And then the key that just like sent me over the edge was the royal blue jacket. When he came out in that, I'm like, and there's Joshua on a stick. Because his senior pictures were actually taken in a royal blue jacket. And it was just really fun to watch the printed shirts, the nice jackets, the slim sweaters. It was great to just like watch that fashion world. We don't often see that eye for detail in the male leads. And it was really fun to watch that unfold during the movie.
Oh, good. And there's that plum suit too that everyone was kind of crazy over.
We call it the Professor Plum.
But the Professor Plum suit, that was spectacular. So,
yeah, that was a good one.
No,
he took that home.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what everybody wants to know, what he took home. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I maybe put up way too many Insta stories with the Professor Plum
no,
suit on.
Great.
I had to throw
it on. I saw him last week when we were doing I shouldn't give anything away. I may have seen him last week.
That they just finished. Well, he had a podcast drop today. So
he did.
He said that he took home clothing.
Yeah. He took home a bunch of clothes, and I always love that because you know, in this industry, I'm always very aware of the waste, like because we do have so many clothes. So it's my favorite when the cast wants to buy or take home their clothes because what most people don't know is it takes 200 years to decompose a cotton t-shirt.
Right.
So I always, in my designs, I try as much as possible to reuse whatever we can on other cast members and other movies. Obviously, key pieces I can't. But so when they're like, I love my clothes, it's you know, it's a great feeling because you're like, yes, okay, I bought something that actually you want to wear in your real life too.
Right.
Hard sometimes with some of the characters, if we're actually creating like a character, then they're like, this isn't me at all, but I love these clothes and they're amazing, but I'm never taking them home. Fine. But like when Kevin's like, okay, I need this, I need that. And
so what else did he take besides the Professor Plum suit, which is beautiful and it fit him great? Like that was a great look on him. So
he took a bunch of sweaters, he took some jeans, he took his boots. like all of his different boots. Yeah.
Yeah, because he had great boots.
There wasn't a lot left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caitlin was probably like, bring all that stuff on home, and then we don't have stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
I loved it.
No, like that's so there was a side comment. So he's a tall guy. They wanted to know brands for tall men. So there's a lot of women that were like, I want my guy to look like that. So what are some of the brands you used for that?
So in Canada here, because I'm shopping in Vancouver, Canada, we have a company called Jack and Jones.
Okay.
And you can find them online. If not, I purchased quite a few things for him there. They have great clothes. You usually have to size up maybe one size.
Okay.
So because they are like a slimmer fit, but there's lots of stuff for men with long arms. I shop there as well for some of my clients that are ex-UFC players, like just like bigger, longer arms. It works really well. Bugatti is another brand that has that I put him in, and they have like a longer sleeve. I shopped a lot at Nordstrom.
Okay.
Because depending on, I think there was a few pieces maybe from Suit Supply.
Okay.
Suit Supply, Nordstrom, Jack and Jones, maybe one or two pieces from Banana Republic. Let me think, where else? Yeah, there's Nordstrom has lots of brands if you shop around that.
Yeah.
And we have a Nordstrom's at the Mall of America because we shared that before that Catherine, who's behind the scene, and I live in the Twin Cities, so we get a Nordstrom's right at the Mall of America. So my dad always got shoes there.
Yeah, Calvin Klein. I think some of the suits were Calvin Klein. A lot of the suits were Ted Baker. And then obviously you're getting talls. So because he is, so Ted Baker, most of those amazing suits were actually from Ted Baker. So you're paying a little bit more, but you'll keep it forever.
Yeah. Lots of comments about how his suits and his wardrobe was so sharp and clean, but not stuffy.
Thank you.
I think we all love
very
that.
much more of a contemporary look, even for the ladies too. Really enjoyed that. It's something that I think, and I think we got so many questions about it because people were like, wait, I actually want my guy in something like that. It's
and the same thing. We had a lot of questions about Lacey's dresses as well. So I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit, but my favorite, I think, was the floral off the shoulder one when they went shopping for the wedding veil. I loved that one.
That one I got at Nordstrom.
Yeah, gotta love that.
Love that. And then we had a lot of questions, of course, about the wedding dress and the wedding veil, but another interesting one was about the dress, the black and white dress that you put her in for the gala. And some good points were made about how different it was from the rest of her wardrobe. And everybody was curious why you made those choices. She was like in a little bit more of a, I don't know, modern dress instead of like the floral romantic dress, and others were in longer ball gowns. So can you tell us a little bit about that choice? We all loved it, by the way. It was very pretty. But tell us about that.
Which again, that one was from Nordstrom as well. It was it was more expensive. It was an expensive. It was like $800. So it was not cheap, that one. And she actually she took it home.
Oh, I love that.
She's like, I love this. I'm gonna wear it again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, you should wear it again.
Yes.
So okay, why did I choose it? I think really what I wanted to do is to have her just look a little bit more sleek. And it was just so beautiful in a different way than all of her other dresses. And we wanted to showcase just that different side of her character as well. And it was like just slightly more guarded. And, we wanted to play on that as well. So, and it was just fabulous, really.
Yeah. So I love that a lot of her, like, daily wear, which would be very much dressed up for a lot of us, was beautiful and romantic, as she said. But this was an event that she was doing for her job, and it so it had a slightly professional, more of a professional, polished look to it. So,
yeah, exactly.
So for that setting, it seemed like she needed something different. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, it just called for something just a little bit different than what we saw her in. So, just more guarded and professional, and rather than just the flowy floral, which would have worked as well, right? But when we're trying on a series, when we're sitting there in the fitting room and we're trying on a series of like anywhere from, I mean, for that look itself, I probably had 15 or more options. It's, you also go like, oh, this is amazing. This is the one we love. And then you hope the network loves it as much as you and your lead do. So, yeah.
Speaking of the network loving your choices, what happens if you have gotten all the approvals for an outfit and then something happens and you just decide like, this is not, we need to change this. Like you said, maybe the wall color clashes with it. How does that happen? Do you have to start go through all the channels again to get all the approvals? Yeah.
No. So how it works is, and the network executive for this, she's absolutely amazing. I've done quite a few movies with her, Elizabeth Yost. I adore her because she allows me to be creative and to do my job. So I appreciate her. How it works is I upload. So let's say the character has about, so how we break it down by script day. So let's say in a movie, the movie has 12 script days. Okay. Then you go, okay, how many times does she change in a day? Is she in pajamas? Does she have an event? Like, do we see her in the morning jogging? Like, what do we see? Right. So let's say then you factor all that in. And let's say Lacey had 18 changes. I can't remember exactly how many she had. I could look. Then what I do is I take photos.
Okay.
And then I upload them to the network for them to look at and for them to give me approvals. So if she has 18 changes, I might upload 30 photos.
Okay.
And then they go through and they tell me what they love. And then they really give me the freedom. And especially Liz, because Liz loves me and trusts me. And another reason why I so appreciate her. Then she trusts me to put those outfits where I think they should go. And I also work with usually the lead. So like Lacey and I will discuss, I'm like, what are your favorites out of these approvals? And then she'll tell me her favorites, because what I don't want to do is set a dress that was like a little bit uncomfortable right here, like in the side. And then you're setting this dress and then she has like 12 scenes in it. Whereas like, she's like, I love it, but it's uncomfortable. Okay. I'm going to set it when you only have 2 scenes. And then it's like 2 scenes and you're done, but it's still super cute. So yeah, so that's kind of how that works. So then if on the day for some reason it doesn't work with coloring, or who knows what the circumstance might be, then I have other options, or I'll just switch things around.
It's a complicated process.
Yeah.
Do you have like some way to keep track of everything that you have for each character? You must have, like, I'd have a crazy spreadsheet. So
yeah, I'm super organized, and we use a program called Sync on Set. And so that program, I will pop in every single, so before we go to camera, I will put in the picture of what I want for that scene. And then well, I don't personally anymore, but one of my girls will sit there and they will itemize every single thing in it. So it'd be like blouse frame, a pink floral blouse frame, like let's say it's called Frame. It's the brand Frame, extra small, $250. Pants, like jeans, AG jeans, dark denim, skinny, whatever. And it's all itemized. So everything is there, so that when it arrives on the truck costumer can also look in the program and then know exactly the outfit. Plus I put a picture and it's all like tied up together,
Yeah.
and it's all the scene breakdowns of what scenes these are going to play for. So it's like it's a big process.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to do kind of like a video of on the truck. I did it before when I did a lot of the garage sale mysteries. We would go on the truck and we would do Instagram stories or whatever with like, here's the truck and here's what happens, because I forget. Like, I was doing fittings in the hotel last week for Wedding Veil 3, and I ordered some room service, and I opened the door for the room service, and they were like, oh, you have so many clothes in here. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just going to do a fitting. And I forget like how cool it is, because I'm just living in this world all the time. And I'm like, where do I find the green dress? Where do I find the green dress? Or where do I find this? And
Yeah, no, it is cool. It's interesting how, because I don't think that most people don't think about that when you're watching one of these movies, but all the details that go into putting this on our screen for us. And I think this movie just caught probably a lot of people off guard because it was just so beautiful. Everything everybody wore was beautiful.
And the other fun thing was, because the girls liked antique shopping, I spent about 3 or 4 days of the first week of prep going to antique stores and looking for antique jewelry and rings and brooches and anything that I was like, this will make sense. I didn't play a lot of antique stuff on Tracy character, Allison Sweeney, because she had the more New York vibe, and it was more like she was almost furniture hunting. But I tried to keep those elements through the 3 movies, and just like little brooches or antique jewelry or earrings or rings, or so that was really fun too.
People really noticed all the rings and the necklaces and the earrings too. People were like, where did you get what? Some of the questions were, where did you get those? So you actually picked those up antiquing.
I did most of them. Almost everything. Yeah, especially for Lacey, almost everything was from antique shops.
That's super cool. We need to visit the Wedding Veil and the dress. So we need to go there. How did you get the veil?
Okay, you ready for the story?
Yes, we are ready.
About the veil. So when I read the script, we were in the middle of the pandemic, and it's calling for this lace from Burano. And I'm freaking out because I have 3 weeks to find authentic lace from Burano, like from Italy, right? You're like, oh my gosh. So I do all the research, because this is also supposed to be a vintage veil. So I'm like, what does a vintage veil look like nowadays from that era? How has it been preserved? What does it look like now that it's preserved? And is it yellow? I mean, there's lots of things you have to think about. I have 3 leading ladies I have to put in a wedding dress. If me and my friends were out shopping and we find a veil and it's an antique veil, am I going to want to wear a yellowed antique veil with my wedding dress?
Right.
These are things that a girl thinks about. So I'm like, I want to be authentic with the history of what the lace will actually look like, and also realistic, right? So we started researching, my assistant and I, like all the museums and the lace and what they look like when they're preserved, and they weren't actually that yellow. So I was like, okay, good, thank God. Phew. All right. Because I'm not putting my 3 leading ladies in yellow dresses to match the veil, and I'm definitely not going to shop dresses and try to dye dresses to match a veil. Like, no. So unfortunately, I started calling Italy, and if anybody's ever been to Italy, they operate on Italy time, which is
I've actually been to Burano.
We have a few doctors at our hospital. I work at a children's hospital who are out of Italy, and we just that Italian time, it never goes away.
No, it's amazing, and I want to move there and live in that, because it's just like siesta and drink wine. Yes, sign me up. So I tried calling and you couldn't get through. And I'm like, how are they going to ship this lace to me? And if I call them, there's the language barrier and everything else. So really, I'm like, I just have to find it somewhere here in Canada. Like, I have to. It's just a thing. So I started going around to all of the bridal shops. I'm like, can you give me some, like, what lace do you have? Like, authentic Italian lace that's handmade. So the other thing is, in that time, it all would have been hand stitched.
Yes.
Yep.
And it was not like, it was, oh gosh, now I should have gone back and reread my notes, but it was like quite a few years later that all of a sudden machines came in and the machines started to manufacture the lace. There is still places that you can go and they all do the hand stitched lace, but that is like few and far between and so expensive and so beautiful. So when I did the research on what the lace looked like, I took pictures of all of it and I went to all the bridal stores and I was like, what do you have? And it ended up that I found this cape. So it was a lace cape from Italy.
Okay.
And it literally went over your shoulders and it fell all the way down. So it was like a giant train.
Wow.
And it was stunning. Like I was like, oh my gosh, just to have like a simple dress and have this cape on, like it was like gorgeous. So I purchased the cape and I sent up the pictures to the network and I'm like, here's the lace. And they were kind of like, okay, we trust you. And I cut up the cape. I sat there with my assistant one night and we drank a ton of wine.
I love this.
Love that. We
It
love
was
that.
after hours. It was after hours.
Here we are. We're gonna do it. We're gonna cut it.
And we cut up the cape and we're like, okay, we
Yeah,
just
you
spent
need the
like
wine to do that. Yeah. Courage.
$2,000 on this lace cape and we're sitting there cutting it up because
Oh my gosh.
and so we pieced it together.
Okay.
And then also I found an antique belt. So the jewels that you see on her are actually an antique belt.
Okay.
And so both of them were one-offs. And we sat there and we made this, like we cut all the pieces out and we laid it out how we thought it would go. And then I took it to my seamstress and she recut everything out and placed it all and set it. And then when Lacey came to town, because Lacey's a tiny human.
Yep.
I was like, I can't have this veil overwhelm her. And I also have to consider that all three ladies are going to wear it.
Yeah.
So, so we fit it to Lacey. And then my poor, amazing, like seamstress, then she made it smaller so it wouldn't overwhelm Lacey. We took the belt and actually my assistant Rachel, she pulled the belt all apart and I was like, this is how big we want it, and she kind of like put it in. And then my truck costumer Raven hand sewed it all in. So it was a labor of love. And then we're just like, okay, so we had one veil, which in movie land, this kind of a thing normally we'd have three of.
Right. In case,
because
just in case.
If something happens to the veil, like you're screwed.
It's amazing.
Right.
It's a character in this movie. Yeah.
Everybody was freaking out over this veil. It's just like, who is the veil? And I was like, and even between the movies, the veil came to my house. It lived in my closet. I was like, nobody is touching that veil. And right now the veil is with our producer, Beth. So it had a life of its own. And the other really funny thing about the veil is, Autumn's movie, number 2, was shot over in Bulgaria. And parts of Italy. And so when we did that movie, I actually didn't go and design her whole movie, but what I did do was style her, Lacey, and Allie.
Okay.
So I flew to LA with the veil and did the fittings with the 3 ladies in LA. And so I laughed really hard because I was like, if I'm the keeper of the veil, does that mean I'll find true love on my flight over to LA?
Right? That's how it goes.
So the
So did you?
veil's been to LA, and then for Allie's movie, I fit Allie in Arizona, and then back to Vancouver, and then we shot number 1 and 3 in Victoria, which is the island from
Right.
like just
Mhm.
not too far from Vancouver. So
Right.
the veils, and then obviously the veil's been to Bulgaria and Italy. So the veil has had a life of its own.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you get to go to Bulgaria and Italy?
No, I didn't. It was too bad.
But the veil got to go.
The
The
veil
veil
got
gets
to
to
go.
go. Yeah.
And the ladies got to go, yeah.
Yeah.
Whoever had to travel with the veil must have been like,
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know. You need a bodyguard for that thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and when it was coming home from Italy, our director Terry had it, and I'm like, don't leave the veil if you leave that veil. Because a man just doesn't quite care the same way about these things as a woman does.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
yeah.
Like, Terry was in charge of the veil, huh?
Terry was in charge of the veil for a minute. Yep. Our director.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you had a veil. You had to do
Mhm.
3 movies with this one veil that's
3
been
different wedding dresses.
completely customized. So no one else is going to have a veil like this. It is
No.
completely it's your
Baby.
your baby. You've made this. And then you had to do 3 different dresses for 3
Mhm.
different women who have 3 different looks.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us about Lacey's dress. How did you
So
go
Lacey,
from the veil to her dress?
Yeah.
so Lacey has these amazing curves.
Yes.
And she tries to hide them sometime. And I told her the other day, I'm like, girl, I'm like, people pay for that. Like, she's got these gorgeous curves.
Yeah.
And so
I'm just gonna say, in the red dress, and she is walking in the red dress. I'm like, girl, show off the curves.
Yeah.
I know.
That was one of my other favorites, by the way, the red dress. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Sarah's very petite also. And so Sarah was like, that red dress, it's everything. So just so you know. Okay, so moving on to getting her a dress.
No, that red dress was stunning on her too. Yeah. So I really wanted to showcase that. And she looks great in a sweetheart neckline, and because she's so tiny up top. Like she's got, she's gorgeous. So I was like, I really want to showcase these curves. I think she needs to have like this classic elegance, and I do this thing, and the girls all know, where I just kind of am like, I kind of ask God, the universe, whatever you want to say. And when I go to the mall, I'm like, okay, this is what I need. Can you please help me find it? And actually, my seamstress, Angeline, she used to own a bridal store. And I kind of got this download that I needed to call Angeline, and I needed to go in to see Angeline, and I needed to see what dresses she had, because she has all these dresses that were kind of left over, because you have to remember, again, I'm working on a budget here. So I'd love to go and spend like $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 on a wedding dress, but I don't have that to spend. So it needs to look like I spent, $100,000, but I don't have that kind of money. So I was like, okay, Angeline. Lacey flew in, and I set up a couple appointments for a few bridal stores, and we went and we tried stuff on, and we found some beautiful things, and they were very expensive, but I'm like, at the end of the day, it's whatever Lacey wants, and this just has to be perfect. And they were gorgeous. But when we got to Angeline's, and she has this little hole in the wall, it's in her home. We go downstairs to the basement, and Lacey and I are there, and we're trying on these dresses. And I just looked at her and I'm like, that's it. And she's like, this is it. And I'm like, yeah. And we put the veil on with it, and or what was like, it wasn't quite the veil yet. It was like all had pins everywhere, and we were like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. So it's kind of one of those funny random stores. I'd love to say that it was like we were in this beautiful boutique bridal store and being fed strawberries with champagne.
Champagne.
And
You
we
were in the
found the
basement.
dress. We were in the basement of my seamstress's house and trying
It's
on
the
dresses.
perfect story, though.
It is. I love
Yeah.
when things like that, when it all just comes together.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Right,
was
right.
meant
And
to
then
be.
everyone knew it was the right dress too. I love that too.
Yeah, it was gorgeous on her. Just the pleats and just just the way it fell, and yeah, it was
There's
perfect.
a beautiful shot where she's looking in the mirror and the girls are standing behind her, and you see the back of the dress, and it's beautiful on her. It fits her perfectly, that shot really well, because it needed to look good both in the front and the back for that shot, because they're shooting from
Yeah.
behind. She's looking
Yep.
in the mirror, you're getting it all. So there's no like, well, the front shots are good, but the back shots aren't.
Yeah.
It looked beautiful. It was a beautiful dress on her. She looked amazing in it.
Thank you. Yeah. So and really that dress, I think I got it for $500.
Yeah. That's
Which
Nice.
just
Yeah.
goes to show, this is the other thing. You can find beautiful things for affordable prices.
Yeah.
right.
And
Right.
and the biggest piece was though that I did have it tailored. And that's the other thing. So ladies and gentlemen, whoever's listening, if you find something you love, it is worth the investment to take it to somebody to have it tailored to fit you well, because you will look that much better in it always.
Yes.
And
I'll
that
tell
is
you what, my
key.
mom's been telling me that my whole life, because I'm tiny. I'm 5 feet, barely. But yeah, I never do.
Sarah, take a
But I
lesson.
will now.
Take a page out of Jaralin's book. Go take your favorite things and just have them tailored. It doesn't have
Yep.
it doesn't cost a lot of money.
No,
But
it's
then
just
that is
doing
the
it.
difference
Yep.
when people are like, oh, they look very polished. They look this way. They
Yeah.
look chic. They look polished. Yes, it's because everything is tailored. I tailor all of their clothes.
Right.
So all of Kevin's shirts, they look amazing on him. Yeah, I took them in, a good 4 inches on each side so that they lay properly. There's not all this extra fabric.
Yep.
Right.
It's like, if you have the curves, show them off.
Mhm.
Show them off. Why would you want to add all this extra fabric? Like, so that's
Words
yes.
of wisdom. Yes.
Yes. Especially
Yeah.
in men's shirt, when you get to long, then all of a sudden they're cut like a box.
Yeah, my husband
And
has
so-
that problem. Yeah.
Yeah, her husband's very tall too. So the short and the tall, I laugh. I was like,
Mhm.
like Kevin Lacey is like her.
That's
and
why
her
I
husband.
love the Kevin Lacey pairing, because it's really like my husband and I.
It's you.
Yeah. But they do the shirts turn boxy, and so like my son likes it's as long as you can stay in the young man section, you can get that really lean cut. But
Yeah.
the minute you go outside of that lean cut goes away real fast. So I can see how you tailored all the shirts easily.
Well, there's a lot of slim fits out there right now, which are great for guys that are really lean all the way around. But like, our leading man in number 3, I don't know if you guys know who he is.
Victor.
So
Yeah.
okay, okay,
Victor
great.
Yeah, it's out there.
Victor has like Victor's lean, but he's built in the chest.
Yeah.
So the problem, not the problem, but the thing with Victor is I was buying for the size of his chest, but then also tailoring in the waist so that he looked like at his best as well. So
right.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the guys' shirts that have Lycra in them now too gives them a little movement. So which I think is a lot better. That makes those shirts hang a lot better. I have lean guys. My husband's very lean, and my sons are both very lean, and they all got dress shirts. It's so funny. Like I have like these people that all dress, and I have my youngest was best dressed in high school. I am not that person. So but I can talk men's fashion and that kind of stuff. I've been kind of all over that, but
and that's okay. And that's okay. As long as you love what you wear and you feel comfortable in it, then that's okay. And if not, then we'll have a conversation after and we can talk about that.
Oh, we need to have a conversation. My daughter is getting married, and my
I know, you need to
coworkers
hire
are
us wardrobe
terrified.
girls
Yeah.
to pick out your
Yeah.
dress.
Yeah, no. So so you're running through 3 movies. So did you actually have to think about what you were going to do with costuming through all 3 movies then?
I did. And then also, yeah, I had to go, how am I going to progress these characters? We also changed seasons in these movies. So Autumn's movie is more in the fall, and then Allison's movie is more winter. So then it's also, you know, finding appropriate clothes for the seasons too.
Right.
Yeah.
But still to carry the same character through the 3 movies. Especially the women are going they're taking a journey together with their veil, right? So
Yeah.
it's very interesting to me. I like the longitudinal storytelling. So you get those acute peaks of that person's story, but you get the longitudinal look of everyone.
Yeah.
As a costumer, was that something you had done before?
Yes. I have, like, because I did when you're doing like a series, then
Sure.
you get to do that, which is always really fun. But a lot of times, you know, these are just one-off movies. So
Right.
a series is one thing. I did yeah, in the series you get to do that, but not normally with these movies. So it was fun to have like the 3 in a row. Yeah.
Yeah. And then finding wedding dresses, was that hard to like keep going with the wedding dresses?
Well, you know, the other thing is you want each of them, like, as because there's the leading lady and then the other 2 cameo.
Yeah.
You want each leading lady, you're like, this is your movie. I want you to feel the same way. Like, you know, I wanted Allison to feel the same way Lacey did in her movie, and I wanted Autumn to feel the same way as both of them did. Like, so I wanted them equally to feel as beautiful in their wardrobe. So it like I said off the top, I was like, it was a lot of pressure. Like it was
Right.
so much pressure because
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to put these ladies in to make them feel amazing? And then number 3, as we were shooting number 3, number 1 had come out and we'd had such great rave reviews, and so then I was like, the pressure's on even more. So
Right.
so yeah, and you're working also with body type and also the character,
Right.
what makes sense for the character. So I don't want to give away the other 2
Right.
ladies, but
Right.
but yeah, you guys are gonna love it. You're gonna
Okay.
love them. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're so beautiful, and they're very their character, and they're all so different. Like nothing looks like Lacey's, and Autumn's I think is probably the most different, and Allie's is more sophisticated New York. So
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Was it challenging to find other gowns that looked just as beautiful with the veil?
No, it
Or
really
was
should
that
have been.
easy?
It should have been, and I was kind of panicking over that for a hot second.
Mhm.
And then it just magic happened. Magic happened. So okay, so Autumn's dress, I'll tell you, because we were going to Bulgaria and I was flying to LA, I shipped, I think it was 6 or 8 wedding dresses to her.
Oh.
Oh.
So I shipped them to her house, and I shipped a ton of clothes to her house, and then I flew to LA, and then I shopped for a day in LA for her and the other girls. And then we did a fitting, and I knew that if one of the dresses that I shipped to her didn't work, then I was going to have to just go and book a bunch of bridal stores and then
Yeah.
go in. And then one of the dresses that I shipped to her worked. So actually all of them were gorgeous, but the one we chose made the most sense, I think,
Yeah.
for her
Oh, I'm
character.
excited now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see, and just to see how the veil goes. I'd love to see the veil in person. That I just think that would be amazing.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
You know, it was
Um,
even beautiful in the little bag.
Right,
yeah,
right.
What is it called? I can't think of it. But it was even
yeah,
just
The
beautiful.
garment, the
the
Garment
clear
garment
bag,
bag.
garment
yeah.
Yeah,
bag.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no.
And yeah, there's lots of like fun little details on it, like the heart in the
Mhm.
pearls,
Yep.
and then there's the A that's sewn in at the back underneath, and there's all kinds of fun things that you'll find out about the veil. So that yeah, all of those were all hand done. And
Did you sew those, or was that your seamstress?
so the
Excuse me.
seamstress actually sewed the heart on.
Okay.
And then the A is actually my truck costumer, Raven. So I always my team is so talented, and I know
Mhm.
you see them all over on Wardrobe Girls. My assistant Rachel, who is
Yep.
Yeah.
also my onset, she does most of the posting for it, just because as much as I love it, I hate doing stuff like that. So she is the champion of that, of our site for the group. And they all are so talented, and they all bring their own special thing. And I really wanted Raven, because Raven doesn't get to shop she doesn't get to shop for some of the
Yeah.
characters. And so because she does embroidery, I was like, okay, you're going to do the A on it. And she was so excited. And so she
Perfect.
mapped it out, and she was like, how big does it need to be? And we made a template. And then, yeah, so she did that.
I love
Yeah,
that.
it's fun.
I love that too. I actually dove through your website too. You just have an amazing team.
Yeah.
I love seeing each of them highlighted and stuff. So between your Instagram and your website, it's a lot of fun. So if people haven't visited both those places, there's a lot of great information on there. Um,
Yeah.
it's so interesting. So I'm going to ask budget. Did
Budget. Yeah, I saw that
did these
question there.
movies have different budgets than other Hallmark movies?
Um, so it just depends.
Mhm.
Usually I'm working within a budget of somewhere between 30 and 40,000 for the
Okay.
entire movie, which really isn't that much money. Like
Not
the
if you got
movie
to get
that
a wedding dress.
no, and bridesmaids dresses. And
Mhm.
Autumn in her movie had 26 changes, I think.
Oh,
That's
jeez.
a lot of clothes.
Yeah.
It's a lot of clothes. And each girl, and in the last movie, number 3, I think Allie has 23 changes, and then Autumn and Lacey have 8 each. And then that's not factoring in all of the other cast.
Right.
So when you have
That's
30
crazy.
cast,
Yeah.
and then they have like upwards, like the leads have upwards of 20 changes, and then everyone falling down like has somewhere between like 8 and 12 changes. It's like it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So yeah, so budget is a thing. And $30,000 or $40,000 really doesn't go that far.
Right. And you've got to
When
do
it
shoes and
Mhm,
accessories and
Right.
mhm.
everything. Yeah.
And so you
Yeah,
had a very normal budget for this movie as like other ones?
yeah, I
Okay,
did.
well, you nailed the assignment. The ladies look beautiful. We've seen Kevin. I can only imagine the other two guys will look great in their movies. I think one of the things is that everyone saw something they could possibly, because it was so contemporary, could possibly add to their wardrobe
Yeah,
or use in their household for their significant other. It just really it was like beautiful. And it's like, oh, we have this event to go to. I love that look. Um, People really were latching on to all the different pieces, and maybe that's part
Yeah.
of what got the buzz going so much. I don't know, but people were so excited about the wardrobe.
And
well, and
everybody's talking about it. All the Hallmark Facebook groups, it's like they're talking about the wardrobe and the accents. Yeah. It's just all over.
well, I try really hard to, although like I do have expensive pieces, because that's also life too. If people want to spend money on an expensive piece, they'll go and they'll spend money. I try really hard to also put the lead sometimes in things that you're like, that was $20. Like
Right.
that violet purple like dress that Lacey's in, I think that was on sale for oh my gosh, I want to say it was like under $60. So it's not
Wow.
expensive.
And then
I
that
have,
was like one of her main shots for promo
Yeah.
pictures. She
Yeah.
looks great
Yeah.
in that dress.
yeah,
With the little
Allison,
scarf. That was cute.
right? Oh, I loved that. I loved we got to do that. Allison is in a couple of sweaters in hers from Amazon,
Yeah.
which is
I
fun.
love that. Yep.
Super
Yeah,
fun.
Amazon. I played a lot of stuff from Lulu's.
Yeah.
On Autumn and in her movie, like a lot of dresses were from there. When you see her movie, Autumn has some
I
amazing
actually
dresses
shop a lot
too.
there too. So now I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I bought quite a bit for Autumn in her movie from Lulu's, and a couple things from that Allie's wearing is from there as well. Amazon for Allie too, and then there's some more expensive pieces, but again, goes to show kind of what I said, right? If you have a really great pair of jeans, great pair of shoes,
Yeah.
Allie actually uses quite a few of her own personal shoes in her movie, which is kind of fun.
That is fun.
That is fun.
Yeah, Autumn uses one of her personal hats in her movie. Remember though, when you watch number 2, that I only got to style the 3 ladies because I
Okay.
didn't get to go to Bulgaria, but the Bulgaria costume designer was really lovely, and we communicated a lot back and forth. So that was kind of fun being able to do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so things don't have to be expensive. Again, if you find that great sweater from Lulu's and have it tailored, Sarah. Yeah.
I
Right,
will.
did
I
I
actually did find a great pair of jeans, and I'm like, they're just about a foot too long, so they're in my
do
car
it?
to
Yes,
get
do
tailored.
it.
All right. What's your favorite jeans brands for women?
Favorite jean brand for women? Well, it depends on the body type, but if you're gonna go cheap, American Eagle makes a
Yeah.
pretty great jean.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And when I've styled Josie Bissett for the wedding veil or wedding march, I mean,
Yep.
I always
Yeah,
put
Josie
her. I usually do style
Bissett.
her and Jack for
Mm-hmm.
those. I always put her in American Eagle. She loves American Eagle.
She looks
So
great in it too.
yeah, if you're gonna go cheap, because they also have like a curvy, and
Yeah.
they have the long and they have the short, so you really don't even have to take your jeans to go get them tailored. So if you're gonna go cheap, I love them. A frame, if you're gonna go expensive, a frame jean is usually pretty great, or sometimes AG. But then again, you're spending a lot more money. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. And
I
then
love that.
for guys, what's their favorite jean for guys?
Well, again, depends on body type. Page jeans for expensive, they're so soft. And then a lot of guys, they're like not into being restricted these days. And so, expensive, but they're like super, super soft. So, I just bought my boyfriend a pair, and he's like, they're so soft. And I'm like, I know. It's like you're wearing sweatpants, okay? It's fine. You can't wear the sweatpants anymore. You're dating me. I'm a costume designer. Like, this is the problem.
No more sweatpants.
I love that.
Fine at home, but like when we go out, no. So yeah, no. But I often put a lot of guys, a lot of our leading men in Jack and Jones,
Okay.
and they're like buy one get one 50% off. So they're like $150 Canadian. So, and they fit really, really great. So that's not too expensive.
No.
I love
Yeah.
Well,
that.
that's especially not, once you're an adult and you're not growing anymore. It's
Or
Yeah.
pregnant.
Yeah,
That's no problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've been over an hour.
I know.
I want to tell you the story about Allie's dress, because
Yeah,
Tell us. Yeah.
we talked about Lacey's, and I told you about Autumn's.
Yeah.
But Allie has it's kind of really fun. So I flew to Arizona to do her fitting because her movie fell and started just after American Thanksgiving. So
Okay.
I flew to Arizona, and I booked in at David's Bridal actually, and I was running about 5 minutes late, so she got in there just before me, and she had gone through and picked out a bunch of dresses, and I walked in and I looked at her and I was like, that's a dress. And she's like, this is a dress, isn't it? And I'm like, that's the dress. That's exactly what I envisioned. And she's like, right? And I'm like, yeah, it was the very first dress she put on.
And
That's
it's from
amazing.
David Bridal. Yeah,
And
I
it's
love
from
that.
David's Bridal.
Yeah.
And she's like, do I need to try any other dresses on? And I was like, no, but maybe we should, just in case. And so she tried on 2 other dresses, and they were all like, all of them were gorgeous on her. And I was like, no, the first one's the dress. And so we added a belt, which you'll see. We added like some sparkly belt to it, and all the accessories. But that is like David's Bridal, and they are amazing. And some of the bridesmaids dresses for some of the other movies are actually from there. So affordable. And then it was really, really amazing because they, you know, I was like panicking a little bit because I knew it needed to be altered, and I wasn't sure about when she was going to get there, and then if the seamstress would have time to alter it in time when she arrived here in Canada. So I was like really hoping that they would alter it for us and fit it to her body. So the head seamstress there that day wasn't in. And so we were like, oh, okay, well, is there any way, you know, this could be altered because we're using this for a movie? And they were like, okay, let me just go ask. And so it turns out that the head seamstress was there, but she was there with her granddaughter who was shopping for wedding dresses. So we knew it was a big ask. So all of a sudden she shows up and she comes in, and then she recognizes Allison. And she's like, I know you. You're Sammy. You're Sammy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, she is. Yeah, she is.
And I was like, yes, we're getting this dress altered. Like in my mind, I'm like, yes, this is happening. So, I looked at her and I was like, look, I know this is a really big ask.
Right.
And I said, we're doing this movie and Allison needs this dress and we need it altered. Is there any way you can do it? And she's like, when do you need it by? And we're like, the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving's on the Thursday, and I'm asking her to have it by the Saturday, which is, you know,
right.
I know what American Thanksgiving is like for y'all, right? So I knew that it was like a big deal, and they were so amazing and gracious, and they altered it, and Allie went in and picked it up, and it was just like one less thing we had to worry about because she arrived and the dress was perfect. So thank you to David's Bridal.
Yeah,
if someone's listening, and I love them, and they have actually the dress. I did Christmas Waltz with Lacey.
Yep.
And so the final dress at the end that she's wearing is actually from David's Bridal as well. And I just altered it like crazy.
I love that.
And we changed it and altered it and did a bunch of things, but it was originally from there. Yeah, too. So
I think that's really fun to learn that some of these outfits that you're seeing on TV, it's not something that you can't have, or you can't have something similar. Yeah.
No, totally.
They're
and
not
I
out of reach.
It's not out of reach. Yes, thank you.
No. Unexpected Christmas I did with Joy Lenz, and it was great with that one because we shot it and then it aired not that long after, within a few weeks. And so people were like, where did you get that coat? And I was able to go like, I got that at Zara. And then I get messages back like, I found it. And I was like, yay. So, it's unfortunate with this one with Lacey that we shot it so long ago. And a lot of these things, people are like, where did you find this? And I'm like, I know that the chances of people finding it are pretty slim, but the good news is with Autumn's and Allie's, people will probably be able to find some of these outfits. So, and they're not that expensive.
Expect your Instagram to be blowing up.
Yeah,
Where did you find that?
Where did you get that? Right? No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
no,
if people haven't or don't know, my team's and Instagram is wardrobe girls _ so follow us and you'll see which movies we're working on. We can't give everything away, but you know, yeah, if you have questions, you can DM us there and we'll answer them for you.
Yeah, it's a really fun page to follow.
Thank you.
yeah,
And if
it's
you
super
have
fun.
requests of things you'd like to see, we always love that too, because, sometimes we're just not thinking about those things because we're so busy
Yeah.
working or finding clothes or,
Hmm.
yeah. So let us know if there's anything you'd love to see.
Yeah, I think it would be really neat to for you to take us shopping one day, like do little
Yes.
clips and like how you start your day, like you have a couple of ideas and then you're going out shopping and put up a little video. That would be fun. Not that you have time for that. Because
No, I think,
you're so busy,
yeah,
but
I think
I think that
that
would
would be
be
fun.
really fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the process for picking
Yeah.
things for a movie, that would be I'd love to see that, right? I'd probably love to go shopping with you because you're probably like that, let me see that. And I would love to see that.
It's
Absolutely.
Yeah, and myself and each of my shoppers, we all have a different way of shopping. But for me, I honestly can walk in a store and I just kind of scan
Mm,
and I know like, okay, that's interesting. And then I go and I touch it and I look at it. And we were talking about this actually before we went live, but the feeling of the fabric and seeing how something is cut is so important to me
Mhm.
because you're like, how is this going to lay on the body? Like,
right.
what is it going to look like? So yeah, so some of it is just like, that's interesting. Like I'm shopping right now for another one and I was just like, wow, that fabric is insane. And you're like, how is that's going to be so amazing on camera if it if we put it on her and she looks fabulous in it, then that is just going to like
Yeah.
sparkle under
Mhm.
the light. So you're always thinking of those kind of things. Yeah.
I bet. Well,
I love it.
thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for your time and
Thank
for
you.
answering your questions. I mean, all of our questions and our listener questions.
Yeah, we
Oh
love
my gosh. This was so much fun because, you know, I I don't always get to talk about the fun stories and the girls and I we were chatting about it about like we were talking about the wedding dress stories and the
Mhm.
veil stories and but it's so much fun when everybody gets to know like, oh, what actually happened, what happened behind the scenes. Like we have so many fun stories or
We love a fun story.
Yeah.
all the nights like I don't sleep because I'm literally like, where am I going to find that dress? Where am I going to find that dress? Where am I going to find these things? And then they just, it's the magic of film. They somehow find their way into our little hands, and yeah, it's fun. So thank you for having me, and we should do it again sometime.
Absolutely. You're welcome
Absolutely.
back anytime. Or even
Yeah,
if you have a funny story that you want to share and you want to jump on an Instagram live with us,
yeah.
even if it's kind of unplanned, we're open to that too.
We
So
are.
Okay,
anytime, you're
We're
always
all-
welcome. Yeah.
let's
Yes.
do it. Let's do it again then.
Awesome. Well,
Well,
thank you
Okay.
everybody for listening. Go ahead,
and hang
Julie. I
out with
cut you
us
off.
here for a minute. Yeah.